In this example, Schubert takes us on a ride with dominant seventh forms. Well, not quite, but we'll see that. Let's listen. We're in A minor, and the first measure outlines a 5-7, landing on the bass note of C in an F major chord. While the F major chord can belong to the flatted 6th degree of A minor, the second inversion tells us it's going somewhere else, and that it is, as a 1-6-4-5-7-1 in the key of F, which we find in measure 3. The second half of that measure is an E-flat 7th chord, except it isn't. If that C sharp were a D flat, it would be, but what's going on with that C sharp spelling? If you look at the E flat in the bass up to the C sharp, you'll find that it's the interval of an augmented sixth, and it's a common formulation in chromatic music. Schubert makes free use of it. If we had that C sharp as a D flat, then the bass note would go up to an A flat, and the D flat would resolve down to a C, and we'd have an A flat chord. However, the next chord is a G minor chord, and here's how it happened. The E flat in the bass resolved downward to D, and the C sharp in the right hand resolve upwards to D. The two notes of the augmented sixth chord resolve outward. That's one form of the augmented sixth chord called the German augmented sixth. The easiest way to remember it is that it has the same pitches as a 5-7 chord, except that the minor seventh is respelled as an augmented sixth, and the notes of the augmented sixth interval resolve outward. Moving to the next measure 4, we see that the bass note is a D, and if we look ahead a bit more to measure 5, we'll see that we've cadenced to a G minor chord. The usual resolution of a German augmented sixth is to a dominant note, either a 1 chord in second inversion or a 5-7 chord. This is the case here. Notice that we have the conventional 5-7 chord in the second part of measure 4. Look at the second half of measure 5. Yep, another German augmented sixth. So we'd expect the D sharp to go to an E and the F to descend to E. Well, the resolution of the chord is just what we'd expect. We're in the first inversion of an A major chord, and the D sharp has indeed resolved nicely to the E. However, the F broke the resolution rule. Why? Well, it's Schubert, so we'll expect a good sound musical reason, and we have one. A major is a bit of surprise. We were in A minor, remember? And putting it in the first inversion blurs the clarity of the cadence just a little. We're not quite settled, and Schubert wants to hold us off a bit. There's a second reason. Take a look at that nice ascending bass line in measures 6 and 7. It gives the music a bit more drive to a resounding 1-6-4-5-7-1, perfect authentic cadence in A in measure 8. Schubert brings us to A in a grand manner. And don't forget that we came from A minor through F major, to G minor, and finally to A major. Be mindful, though, that these moves are in the nature of chromatic embellishments rather than tonal shifts. Thinking in terms of A minor, F major is the flatted sixth, G minor is built on the flatted seventh. Schubert illuminated his brilliance in utilizing scales in some way related to the key. Note also that though the flatted fifth in A minor is G major, Schubert is perfectly comfortable in borrowing the minor form. We are too. We like it just fine. We admire the technical brilliance, but what we want to do as listeners is just enjoy the ride. There's one other point, and it's purely conjectural. The piece is called Wetterfahne, the Wetterfahne. Did you notice how the dominant seventh form and the German augmented sixth form alternated in their excerpt? Like a weather vane? We don't know if that was Schubert's intention, but it's fun to play musicologists. Of course, analysis can also be overcooked. Thanks for watching and listening.